swear or affirm the testimony you will give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
So please, right here. Thank you. Please state your name, sir.
Officer Fred T. Arnold III,
With whom are you employed?
Tampa Police Department.
For how long?
Approximately 25 years.
Sir, were you employed and working on January 28th of 2011?
Yes, sir.
In what capacity?
As a patrol officer.
And on that date in the afternoon, were you tasked with transporting this defendant, Julie Schenecker, from downtown Tampa Police Department on Franklin to the Hillsborough County Jail?
Yes, sir.
And actually, were you the individual who's captured in the, we'll call it a walkout video, with the detectives and Ms. Schenecker?
Yes, sir.
Okay. During the transport of Ms. Schenecker to the jail, did she make statements, have conversation with you?
Yes, sir, she did.
And what was her demeanor, as you recall it?
It was jovial.
Okay.
Wasn't sad or anything like that.
And do you recall any specific statements she made?
Statements that she made to me were that she wanted to be taken somewhere else other than where we were going, and she wanted me to give her my gun so she could finish the job.
Okay, nothing further. Thank you.
Cross-examination.
Good afternoon, Officer Arnold.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Now, when you were initially asked to come over to transport Ms. Schenecker, where did you go?
When I was originally asked, it was a call from the detectives to the radio to have somebody dispatched to where they were, and I was actually on street patrol when I got that dispatch call.
Where'd you respond?
411 North Franklin Street, which is the police department.
And when you went to 411 Franklin, where was Ms. Schenecker at that time?
She was in a holding facility on the 8th floor, the detectives division.
Okay. And at that point, were you tasked with transporting her and walking out with her at that time?
Yes, ma'am.
And was there a large press or media presence at the time when she went to your vehicle?
Yes, ma'am.
Is that an unusual thing?
No, ma'am.
That's common for there to be a walkout with a lot of press at that area?
With a high-profile suspect, yes, ma'am.
Okay. And when you're there and you're walking with Ms. Schenecker, initially when you're walking in the front of her?
Yes, ma'am.
And Detective Sandell and Detective Prebich are on either side of Ms. Schenecker?
Yes, ma'am.
And when they're walking with her, they're both holding on to her arms?
Yes, ma'am.
How did she appear to you on that day when you were walking out from 411 Franklin?
As far as?
What was her condition at that time?
The only thing I could tell you is she was walking. She was walking with help from the detectives.
Was she shaking?
Yes, she was.
Did she need assistance?
Yes.
Okay. And was that something you were aware of at the time that you were walking her out to your patrol vehicle?
No, ma'am. Not until we actually started walking with her. Then I was made aware of it.
Okay. So when you were walking out with her initially, they're walking to your vehicle and the detectives place her in the back of your vehicle?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, where was she handcuffed?
I don't recall right offhand.
Okay. Do you remember testifying earlier that she was handcuffed in the back?
Objection to form. Sustained.
Did you ever make a statement before that Ms. Schenecker was handcuffed in the back?
Objection. Form. Sustained.
You don't remember where she was handcuffed?
I don't recall right now.
Okay. What is the standard protocol for handcuffing a suspect?
It is handcuffing them in the back.
And when would there be an occasion to have someone handcuffed in the front, if ever?
If there is any type of injury that would preclude a suspect from being handcuffed in the back.
Okay. But is it the standard operating procedure, the SOP, that a suspect would be handcuffed in the back?
That is correct.
Okay. And so for someone to be handcuffed in the front would require some kind of extreme or exigent circumstances?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. When you transported Ms. Schenecker to be booked, what location was that?
That was Orient Road Jail.
And when you took her to Orient Road Jail, at that point, were Detective Sandell and Detective Prebich with you?
No, ma'am.
When you went there, did you have to help Ms. Schenecker go into booking?
Yes, ma'am.
And how did you do that?
I had her just hold on to one of her arms because I had, I guess, other property in the other, or paperwork. So I had to help her by holding one arm to the door.
Was her condition walking into Orient Road Jail the same as her condition was going out to your vehicle?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Your Honor, if I may publish Defense Exhibit 1.
Objection.
You may approach.
That the walkout that you did from 411 Franklin to your patrol vehicle, refresh your recollection as to where Ms. Schenecker's handcuffs were placed.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And that's to publish the video.
You ready?
Are you able to see the screen, officer?
Yes, ma'am.
Your Honor, may we approach?
Yes, sir.
David, sir.
Yes,
And what do you recognize that to be?
that's a sales slip for the gun store, Lock and Load.
And to a specific customer?
Yes, Julie Schenecker.
And do you recognize the handwriting on that receipt?
Yes,
And whose handwriting is that?
that's my handwriting.
Okay. And what date was that sale made?
The 22nd, 2011, January 22nd.
And as a Saturday, would there have been a 3-day waiting period?
3-day waiting period starting on Monday.
Okay, Monday would have been the 24th then.
Right, there's a 3-day wait. Weekends don't count, so it would be Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday would be the day.
Okay, at the time of any sale, I know it's a meat locker in here, isn't it, sir? At the time of any sale, do you take make a copy of a purchaser's driver's license?
Yes.
Show you what's been marked on identification, it states 88. And you recognize this as a copy of the copy made during the transaction with Ms. Schenecker?
Yes, that's it.
Judge, you move states 88 into evidence?
Yep.
No objection, Judge. See, without objection.
Let me show you two different compact disc videos, States Exhibit 92 and 93. Do you recognize these exhibits from any markings that you had placed on there previously?
I got my initials on there, on both of them.
And did you view these when I and an investigator came out to show you those at your gun store in the last few weeks?
Yes.
And did you recognize those as videos of Ms. Schenecker's picking the gun up from your store on the 27th of January 2011?
Yes.
Your Honor, I move states 92 and 93 into evidence.
No objection, Judge.
May I
See, without objection.
Thank you. May I publish?
Yes.
States 90.
Okay? Yes, sir.
States 92. And do you recognize the individual shown on the other side of the counter away from you? In the striped shirt?
Yes.
And who is that?
That's Julie Schenecker.
And was that you behind the counter, although we can't see your whole...
That's me. I can see my orange sweatshirt I had on.
Do you know what you're doing at this point as Ms. Schenecker turns her head towards the wall?
I believe we were showing how the laser worked on the Smith & Wesson revolver.
What are you doing now with the revolver? Can you tell?
Yeah, it looks like I'm just showing the functionality of the revolver itself.
Can you tell what Ms. Schenecker is doing now? Can you see from that distance?
Yeah, I can't really see. It looks like she's loading the pistol.
Can you describe, or do you know what Ms. Schenecker is doing with the firearm at this point?
She is looking at the wall with a laser coming out of that revolver.
During your contact with Ms. Schenecker to this day, did you ever see any shaking of the hands or the head?
Not at all.
During this time, are you having conversation with her?
Yeah, mostly about the functionality of the weapon and the instructions and what not to do, what to do, you know.
And with the purchase of a Smith and Wesson 38 Bodyguard, was a set of firearm safety instructions given to her?
Correct.
Thank you, Sally. That's the last of that. We ought to move to published states 93. You ready? And is this camera angle from a different view than the first one we just showed?
Yes,
Still the same pickup though?
same pickup, yep.
Now, did she have to pay this day, or was that all set up and paid the day?
That was paid in full on Saturday, the 22nd.
Thank you. Did you ever notice any difficulty in Ms. Schenecker's balance during the time she was there on the 27th of January?
No, sir.
Do you recall what your store hours would have been on that Saturday? Thursday in January?
I usually run from 10 to 5 p.m.
Were you able to see what Ms. Schenecker just did with the items?
I didn't see it.
Okay, sir. Reference the box.
Huh?
Concerning the blue box, were you able to see that?
She's closing the box, it looked like.
Okay. What's she doing now?
She's shaking my hand and saying thank you and goodbye.
Okay. The video goes on for several more minutes, but does not contain Ms. Schenecker. Do you want to continue?
No, I don't think it's necessary.
Thank you. I'll stop the public noise. All right. During the time that Ms. Schenecker picked up the gun on January 27th of 2011, during your conversation you had with her, did you ever hear any distortion in her speech?
No, not at all.
During your conversation with her on January 27th of 2011, were you able to understand the content of her speech, what she was saying?
Absolutely.
Did she ever express any thoughts or questions or make any statements that you did not understand or that you thought were illogical?
No.
Did she ever ask you to explain, other than the gun's functionality, any of the thoughts that you were expressing?
No.
When did you open your business, sir?
2010?
Okay. Had you been in the gun business before?
No.
Okay. In your experience in dealing with customers at Lock and Load, was there anything unusual or odd about your interaction and Ms. Schenecker's interaction with you during the